Then we go off to Kempton with the going standard slow on the poly track. It is a 7-card event that begins at 5:10. With a bet at racingtv.com handicap for 3-year-olds plus a class 7 over 5 furlongs with 10 runners. That comes to a close at 8:10 with a matchbook handicap for 4-year-olds plus a class 6 over 1 mile, 3 furlongs, 219 yards with 14 runners. So do make sure you come and join us here on this service a little bit later on today. You'll be able to listen to commentary of the racing from Ayr and Kempton. Coming up here on this service for you today, you'll be able to listen to commentary of the racing from Ayr and Kempton. We first go to Ayr with the going soft, heavy in places, the surface turf. It's an 8-card event that begins at 1:50 with the Join Racing TV Now Apprentice Handicap for 3-year-olds plus a class 6 over 1 mile with 14 runners. That comes to a close at 5:20 with your Christmas break at Western House Hotel Handicap for 3-year-olds plus a class 6 over 1 mile, 2 furlongs with 11 runners. Then we go off to Kempton with the going standard slow on the poly track. It is a 7-card event that begins at 5:10 with a bet at racingtv.com handicap for 3-year-olds plus a class 7 over 5 furlongs with 10 runners. That comes to a close at 8:10 with a matchbook handicap for 4-year-olds plus a class 6 over 1 mile, 3 furlongs, 219 yards with 14 runners. So do make sure you come and join us here on this service a little bit later on today. You'll be able to listen to commentary of the racing from Ayr and Kempton. Coming up here on this service for you today, you'll be able to listen to commentary of the racing from Ayr and Kempton. We first go to Ayr with the going soft, heavy in places, the surface turf. It's an 8-card event that begins at 1:50.
And welcome along into the first of 8 races on the card this afternoon from the meeting at Ayr. The runners are beginning to assemble down at the start for the first of 8 on the card this afternoon. Really testing ground conditions, as you might expect, for this afternoon's 8-race programme. The going described as soft, heavy in places. So as advertised, we have a full field of 14 to post for the opening heat on the card this afternoon. And we start with a Class 6 graded apprentice riders handicap. It's over the trip of a mile, and Gamester's Icon, the mount of Aidan Blakemore, is the 7-2 market leader. Remy D is next best in the ring at the price of 6-1, having been clipped in from 13-2. Money also seen for Kinch, who's been back from 8-1 into 6-1. And this is the Irish Raider, trained by Johnny Levins. Sean Curran on board, one of the more experienced apprentices in the lineup. 17-2 then for Highway to Heaven. This is another Irish trained representative, and it's then 9-1 for Bouchamar, for Ruth Carr and Gavin Ashton, and it's then 9-1 also for the Stalking Moon, who's been clipped in from 10s. This one carrying a £5 penalty for a recent victory for trainer Adrian Nichols. Laura Coughlin on board the 5-year-old this afternoon. A Chinese Spirit is another one to consider, currently quoted in the market at 9-1. It's then 11-1 for Cliff Bay, Equiday, the top weight 12s, Snooker Jim is 16s, Tom's Anna 40-1, and Pudding Chair is 66-1 as the runners continue to move forward into the starting stalls for the opening heat on the card this afternoon. So won't be too long before we're underway for the first of 8. It's a bright sunny afternoon, but as I say, very testing ground conditions. As the last 3 or 4 prepare to move forward into the gates. Pudding Chair just moving in. A 3-time winner at this venue, but the rank outsider this afternoon.
This event
also waiting for Darwin.
This event is now in play.
Russell Harris on board that one, and will be the last one in. So it looks like we're just about all set at Ayr. And that's it, they're off and racing for the Apprentice Riders Handicap. Class 6, the grade over the 1 mile trip. Dropped out through the early stages, Chinese Spirit, and Pudding Chair is another one towards the back of the field through the first half a furlong or so. The Stalking Moon, another one amongst the back markers. Meanwhile, up front, it's the top weight Equiday, who's the first to show its advantage, leading up from Darwinner, giving chase in second. Bouchamar is racing promptly, as is Gamester's Icon, with Tom's Anna, another one in the vanguard as well, as they make their way through the first quarter mile, heading down the far side of the track. Taking quite a keen hold, Cliff Bay just off the pace now, pulling himself towards the front of the pack as they head towards the end of the back straight. But up front is Equiday, who shows away from the free-going Cliff Bay. He's moved right up to challenge in a close second, just a neck between that pair now. Back in third position, Tom's Anna, followed by Bushama, and on the rail, Darwina. Further back in the field then, racing 3 wide is Gamester's Icon. That's being tracked through then by Remy D. And then further back in the field to Chinese Spirits, trying to pick up 1 or 2. Snooker Jim is behind those, Pudding Chair right at the back of the field at this point, with Highway to Heaven trying to make some headway on the wide outside. Heading down towards the final quarter mile, and they're fighting right across the track towards the far side. Coming through with Equiday is the Stalking Moon, who's picking up strongly. Down the centre of the track, still in with every chance, Snooker Jim. Gamester's Icon is beginning to pick up, and from way off the pace, Highway to Heaven is now beginning to get rolling as well as they head down now towards the closing stage of the Stalking Moon. The far side, Gamester's Icon now coming through to challenge Snooker Jim behind those, with Highway to Heaven continue to stay on as into the final furlong. Is Gamester's Icon now